producer and partner in the strange and unexplained, Raven Knight. Welcome, Raven. How you doing today?
I am fabulous and I'm super happy to be here. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Wherever you may be joining us from tonight, whether it's a quiet back road, a dimly lit room, or lonely highway, or something deeper than the woods themselves, we appreciate you spending part of your evening here with us. And before we begin tonight, we want to wish a sincere happy Mother's Day to all the mothers listening tonight. Thank you for being here and spending this special evening with us. Now, tonight's episode is one I've been looking forward to because tonight we're stepping away from speculation and speaking with someone who has spent years combining real-world experience, education, investigation inside the paranormal field. Joining us tonight is Lee Hatfield, joint joint leader of SIPA Canada, Scientific Investigation of Paranormal Activity Canada. Lee brings with him over 25 years' experience serving as a paramedic, firefighter, Royal Air Force veteran in the United Kingdom, and that background alone brings a level of discipline and observation that translate incredibly well into the paranormal world. Since moving to Canada in 2013, Lee has continued expanding his knowledge through studies in demonology, cryptozoology, and the poltergeist phenomenon, while also teaching a 4-week program designed to help investigators understand and properly use paranormal investigation equipment in the field. And tonight, we're going to dive into of it all: the investigations, the theories, the equipment, the experience that cannot always be explained, and the moments that safely shows us how to investigate long after the haunted location has been left. Darkwoods Paranormal is proudly produced by Unbox Media LLC, where storytelling, investigation, and the unexplained come together. So tonight, turn down the lights low and let's step into darkness together. Lee, welcome to Darkwoods Paranormal, sir. How are you today?
I am very well, Gable. Thank you very much. And Raven, hello to you too.
Hello, hello. We're so happy that you're here and you popped on and it was kind of Mother's Day, so I wasn't sure if we would have any guests, but here you were. You were like, "Yeah, definitely." So welcome.
The
So
best
happy that
guest of them
you're
all. Thank you.
I'm
I'm
excited. I'm
I'm
really excited to talk
I'm,
to you.
I'm not a mother, so I'm okay.
Mm,
And honestly, I was like, well, you know what? I love podcasting. I love telling these stories and talking to people. So for me, this is what I would love to be doing at this time, So thanks. Thanks for being
Yeah,
here.
and because I enjoy podcasting, if I start asking you questions, stop me because that's going to happen on a different
mm,
podcast.
Not out. We'll just continue. We'll answer it. We'll answer them.
Well, just
Absolutely.
part two next time,
Okay, sounds like a plan.
which is
But
great.
yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Well, Lee, tell
Yeah.
us about yourself, sir.
I'm shy. I'm not going to. No, okay. So I live in Canada. I'm a Brit originally. I've spent, as you said, over 25 years in the emergency services. Before that, I was in the military, and I did something crazy by marrying a Canadian and moved to Canada 13 years ago.
Well, good.
Uh, she's looking at me, so I'm okay.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I was always a skeptic for the longest time within the paranormal world, even to the point where I didn't used to watch any of the TV shows because I thought it was complete garbage. Until that's me.
And
Until
then it was a
when?
dot dot dot.
Oh, there we go. There we
Until.
go. There we go.
Suspense is killing me. You can't do that, Lee.
Okay, I won't do it anymore. I promise. So,
Okay. Whew.
what
I feel like you will now.
when I was a paramedic in the UK, I'm working a Saturday night shift. My regular crewmate had gone sick, so I got a spare, as they call them, to come and work for me.
Spare?
A spare,
I like it.
yeah. And young lad just talking about football because we invented it, so we call it football, not soccer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, talking about the weather and that kind of thing. And then we got a call, and the first call was to a cardiac arrest. So I was a paramedic in charge. We arrived, and this guy was in cardiac arrest, and we're working on him, and we're taking it in turns doing CPR in between doing all the other procedures. And this guy, he just says, "You can stop if you like." So I'm like, dude, I'm the paramedic in charge. You can't tell me to stop, but I can tell you to stop. He went, "No, the spirit stood behind you, telling you that that he can stop. You can stop because he's not coming back." So I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, yeah, the spirit stood behind you, watching you do CPR on his body. And he says his time's come and he's not coming back. And it kind of, like, what the? And it's like, okay, with all due respect, can you tell the spirit that I've got a job to do and
Get
I
back in
can't-
there. Right.
Yeah, I can't just stop.
Right.
And after working on the guy for like 20 minutes or so, we called it. Unfortunately, this person had passed away. Did all the paperwork and waited for the coroner and all that kind of stuff. And I got back on the vehicle and went, dude, what the beep was that? And he went, what? Oh, he goes, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I'm a medium. And I'm like, wait, what? And you didn't want to tell me that at the beginning of the shift? You decided to wait until it was in the middle of a cardiac arrest? I went, dude, you can't do that to me. So yeah, it wasn't up until that point where I was like, oh crap, what the? Yeah, so that kind of changed my perception of the paranormal.
Wow. So they
Wow.
give you a broken spare. I like that, man. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, don't work with that guy. He's weird.
Yeah. So did you ask him questions? Do you have experience with a medium prior to this? Or were you curious of this?
Well, I kind of took mediums with a pinch of salt. It was like I was still the kind of skeptical mind at the time.
Sure.
And even when people go, oh yeah, I'm a medium, it's like, well, I'm a large, big deal. Yeah,
Sometimes the
I
meaning depends on the brand, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I didn't really take a lot of like opinions really.
Right.
But then after that, we got back to the station. It's like, so you're a medium, yeah. And then I'm asking him all these questions. Yeah. When was the first time you knew, and asking about how he communicated with spirits, and it kind of like, maybe there is something more to this than what I actually know. Because being in the fire service and being a paramedic, you deal with death all the time.
Right.
And the amount of times it's sort of like you can have a corpse in the back of the ambulance driving them to the mortuary, and you go, "Did you just hear something in the back?" But you didn't. But
Right.
because you've got a dead body in the back, it kind of spooks you.
Sure.
So I was just asking like loads of questions about. So you're a medium, are you? Thanks. Yeah, and then just going into the complete conversation for the rest of the evening.
So
Wow.
you obviously believed him when he said he was a medium.
Well, there was no reason for him to say that the spirit is stood behind you
Right.
unless he had just cause.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
and because he was my junior, he's not going to say something like that just off the bat in the middle of probably one of the most serious parts of the job that you have
Right.
to do. So, yeah, I kind of believed him because it's like, hang on a minute. Sort of like, I don't know this guy, never met him before tonight. So for him to come out with that, it was like, maybe there's more to this than I actually realised.
Wow.
Do you stay in contact with him?
Hell no. No, that was the...
one time away.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, look, go away. I worked at a small outstation away from the city, and he worked in the city.
Oh,
But because my crewmate was off sick, he always used to work in the city, and we normally had like regular crewmates and stuff like that. So didn't really see him again after that. Then it's like,
wow.
Wow.
But yet that experience kind of formed a personal relationship with the paranormal.
Yeah, and
That's cool,
I was,
man.
I was on another podcast a few months ago now, and this guy's talking about things that happened to him as a child, and then that brought back to me an incident when I was like 5 or 6, and I saw this shadow in a window of a derelict factory, and I was only a kid at the time. It freaked me out.
Right.
And when we got closer there, the factory was all boarded up, closed up. There was no way for anybody to be there. And the figure in the window had gone. And I hadn't thought about it for years.
Right.
But then I spoke to my siblings, and they went, yeah, that was really freaky that happened. So but was it human? We were too far away to see at that time.
Sure.
I was only 5 or 6, so what was it? I don't know, but it wasn't there when we actually got right up to the old factory. So
That's cool. So, what was your first
Wow.
other than working with the broken spare? Other than that, what was your experience with the paranormal after that?
well, even though that happened, I kind of started being a researcher first,
Sure.
because the amount of stories that you hear of people saying that, yeah, they've seen a ghost. And I've always been a logical person, because being in the emergency services, you have to deal with what's in front of you. You have to deal with black and white. There's no grey areas.
Absolutely.
So I always had like a conscious head on my shoulders. So even when I was in the military as well, if you heard something or you saw something, as far as I was concerned, there was always a rational explanation for it. You
Right.
always used to go, oh yeah, lights in the sky, aircraft. Noise in the back room, or something fell over, or yeah, it was a cat, a dog, whatever. So I always used to debunk everything, because it's like, yeah, rational head on your shoulders.
Right.
No, yeah. But it wasn't really until I came to Canada that I started to be involved with one group that unfortunately weren't very proactive. So then I joined, well, I created SIPA with the other two co-leads, and we went to a jail. And I always kind of like to go by myself, because if I'm gonna experience it, I know what I experience. It's a personal experience for me.
Yeah.
We can't say that somebody else, yeah, oh, it didn't happen because I never heard, or I never saw anything. And I was in an area of the jail called the Hell's Angel Wing, and I'd got my camera and my audio. And as I'm reviewing it afterwards, the day after, I was walking around the cell, and I basically said, if anybody's here, please make a noise, make a sound. I would very much appreciate that. And this was on review. And straight after I finished talking, I heard like a on the audio. And it's like, did I imagine that? So I played it again. No, there was definitely a double breath that I heard. I sent it to my two colleagues, and they went, well, it's your breathing. It's like, dude, I know how a human being breathes. I've got the background.
Right.
And I've got a friend who has been doing podcasts for a few years. Sent it to him, and he actually broke it down into like voice waves. And he's going, this is your voice wave, this is my voice wave, and this is a double breath. And it was completely different.
Wow.
So he goes, we can't say it's paranormal, we just don't know what it was. And there was three of us doing that investigation, and the other two were maybe down the corridor, maybe 30, 40, 50 feet away. So there's no way that they could have been part of that audio, because they were too far away and separate directions.
Right.
So that was kind of really my first like, what was it? And yeah, and I'm not one of these people that go, I saw a ghost or I heard a ghost. It's just like, I can't explain what that is. So it goes onto the unexplained pile.
Well, you seem to be very analytical. With your background and just the way you speak about it, you really do have that organic sense to you. Where what is it? And if you can't explain it, as you said, it goes into a file or a pile, and then you try to explain it. I think that's cool, man.
Yeah,
Good for you.
And that's one of the things that we, as SIPA, Scientific Investigation Paranormal Activity, that's one thing that we concentrate on, because there are so many things in everyday life. Yeah, you can get EMF from faulty wiring.
Sure.
Black mold can cause hallucinations. EMF can
Right.
cause hallucinations.
Right.
If you've got radiation coming from something, that can make you like a brain fog and imagine things. So there's so many natural things of everyday occurrence that some people, if they weren't aware of the fact, could say, I've experienced a ghost or I've heard a ghost, where it's actually, there's a rational explanation for it.
Right.
And a perfect example, we went to an investigation about 18 months ago, and it was the third floor of an Airbnb. And the owner's going, oh yeah, if you sit at the kitchen table, you get a lot of EMF activity. And like if you go into the lounge, you get a lot of EMF activity, because obviously people go there all the time because she advertises it as being haunted.
Right.
So I've got a tri-field because it's more of a device that people use in everyday life for contractors and stuff like that. So I use that. I put it on the kitchen table, and it is going crazy. I'm thinking, this is not right. So she's going, oh yeah, you get a lot of activity when people bring the K2s, and it goes off all the time. So I let her stop talking, and just before she left, I went, oh, what's below us? And she goes, oh, there's another apartment, a private apartment with exactly the same layout. And I went, okay. I went, how old's this building? She went, oh, it's like 80 to 100 years old. So my colleague's looking at me. He's like, oh, what? And I went, watch this. She left. I put the tri-field on the floor, and it just went straight off the scale. And I went, this building's full of faulty wiring.
Sure.
And then I went into the lounge where she said you get a lot of activity, put it on the wall, and again, it went crazy. I walked out of that room into the kitchen, big power box on the wall. So, yeah, all these people going, oh, there's a lot of EMF activity, but they've not been doing their due diligence. It's personally due to faulty wiring in that location. So we always try to eradicate anything that is natural. You get noises in your loft. Okay, let's get a ladder. Let's go up there. Let's see if you've got any wildlife. So we're going to rule out everything of that kind of nature before we even think, okay, let's get some toys out and let's play to see if we can communicate.
Right.
What I love about that, Lee, is a lot of people we talk to where everything is paranormal. And there's a saying that we have here, and if everything is paranormal, nothing is. So, it's great that you actually take the time to dissect it, to figure out what it is. And I think, some people can get sick off of certain things. So I think it's great that you're able to do that. Do you explain to them, and how do you explain to them that, listen, I think what you're experiencing is this?
Good
Well,
question, Gabriel.
Thank you, Evan. So one thing that we do, you have to treat people with sensitivity, because as far as they are concerned, what they are experiencing is real to them.
Right.
So we could go down the road of mental health issues and all that kind of stuff, because in this day and age, it's more prevalent than what it was a few years ago.
Absolutely.
So we are cautious about how we explain to people, and we do go into you've got a lot of black mold, the place isn't as good as what it should be, so it could be that's creating it. And a perfect example, we went to a home investigation 18 months ago, and it was a family of a male, female, and they had a child, and they were saying there's spirits all over the house. So I thought, this could be interesting. And they're sending us videos, and like, oh, this baby's toy is going off, but the video starts after the toy's going off.
Right.
So it's like, okay. And then she's going, no, the spirits all in the house, and the dog barks at the cupboard for no reason, and we found a dead bird in the garage. Sort of like, okay. So we finally turned up, and we did an interview with them. And we thought, well, if there is something, then we'll come back and do a proper investigation. So we found out that the dog was barking at the cupboard, because that's where she kept the dog treats. There was
Spot on investigation, Lee. Spot on investigation, sir.
Yeah, there was an old chimney in the garage,
Right.
and the bird had fell down the chimney and couldn't get out and died. And then she goes, no, but look. And she got a cell phone out, and she goes, look, there's a ghost sat on the sofa next door to my boyfriend, and they got an old leather kind of sofa, the old like creaky type. And I went, what are you using on your phone? She went, Snapchat. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I went, you do realise that Snapchat is not a paranormal app. It's just like for doing bunny ears and things. And what Snapchat was doing, it was creating, if it saw a crease in the sofa, it was trying to put it into a human face.
Wow.
And that's what she was thinking was spirits.
Wow.
And she would not have it. She went, no, you're
Right.
you're lying. And I went, I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. And we actually had to block her on social media in the end because she was obsessed with the fact that her place was like absolutely possessed and haunted. And it's like, no, there's no evidence of any paranormal activity. Don't send us a video when a toy is going down and it just looks like you've kicked it and turned it on. So yeah, we don't want to see that. That was like, okay, yeah, this is not a genuine.
I have to commend you, first of all, for doing the work, right? Because there are a lot of people out there that will just say, oh, this is paranormal and this is paranormal and this is, but like, a lot of people use the cat balls, and if the cat ball moves, but we know how sensitive a cat ball is. If that moves, then all of a sudden it's a paranormal thing, or, oh, I heard a noise, all of a sudden that has to be something paranormal. I absolutely love the fact that you guys do what you do. Seems like you do the work, you do the research, you go in there and try to debunk. And part of that could also be the fact that you were skeptic to begin with, because, we've said too, like, you have to be skeptical in this field. You can't just say everything is paranormal.
Exactly.
So I just want to commend you for that.
Thank you. And we do use cat balls. However, we also have a vibration device. So, it's like for earthquakes or whatever. So we will always put it in a location where it's not going to get kicked, it's not going to get vibrated, like on a concrete shelf or whatever. And then we will put a cat ball on top of it. So if both of them go off, you know that it's caught a vibration from somewhere. If one of them goes off, and it's happened a couple of times where either one or the other's gone off, and so it's like, okay, what is it? Because it's not necessarily caught a vibration, because both are vibration activated. So if you do that and you've got two separate vibration devices but only one goes off, is it natural or is it paranormal? And we don't say, oh, yeah, we've got a positive hit because one went off, because to get a positive hit, you've got to have more than one definitive object that a tool that's activated or something like that. You can't just go, cat balls go off, yep, that's a ghost. You've got to have multiple things that go off at the same time, multiple different devices, not just the same thing 3 times.
Well,
Sure.
I'm going to take a different stance than Raven did. I'm going to call you out to being a bully to bring reality into somebody else's reality, sir. How dare
Could
you?
you?
Okay,
Holy
I'll just go now then.
No, stay, Lee. Stay.
Oh, man.
Like I said-
Gabriel.
Like I
Well,
said,
it's got to be tough to actually, when someone believes something and, to them, either it is true or it makes them special. It's really got to be hard to sit there and explain to somebody that, their reality may not be it. And I commend you, because it's hard to do, man. Most people wouldn't do that. And I think you approach it in a way if you're trying to be helpful. And a lot of people are very sensitive about that. So,
yeah,
thank you.
and that also comes back to my paramedic training, because if somebody says, oh, I've got chest pain, and you turn up, where does it hurt? And they point to their stomach. You then have to kind of talk to them, well, this is not actually your chest. Your chest is here. So does it hurt here, or does it?
Yeah.
So you kind of and this is a lot of old folk that are not so knowledgeable, shall we say, of the conditions.
Right.
So you do learn to be quite sensitive to people. But sometimes people are just like so stupid. And like, but
I
when you
didn't
go
see
on
that coming, Lee. I like it though. I like it.
and what, the thing is, though, and what I mean by that is you can go onto some of these Facebook pages or some of the TV shows
Right.
and like, oh, that door's just creaked closed. It's like, well, show us what's on the other side.
Right.
And then by the time they slowly walk up to it, half an hour later, they open, and there's nothing there. So yeah, there are people that, let's use the word gullible, if you like,
Right.
where they want to believe, but they won't think logical about it.
Right.
But yeah, for someone like us, if we have to go through that, it's normally me. I'm the one that normally speaks to somebody because it's like, okay, let's sit down and have a chat. So Gabriel, you think you're being haunted, but actually, I don't think you are. Yeah, and you're polite
okay.
about it. Yeah,
Right.
because like I said at the beginning, yeah, if I experience something, it's a personal experience to me.
Absolutely.
Just because you didn't have a ghost hold your hand, but I did, doesn't mean it didn't happen. And I've actually had a ghost hold my hand. Well, something hold my hand, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Right.
But yeah, you've got to be logical. Sort of like, yeah, somebody sees a UFO, with it being in the sky, good chance that multiple people are going to see it. If you are looking for cryptids, you go into the woods, you set your camera to blurry, and then you take a picture of some dude in a wood in a.
You set your camera to blurry and then you find Bigfoot. There he is.
I like
You
him,
just-
Raven. We have to have him on again. I like him. That
But it's
is
like,
good.
have you
Maybe
not
we
seen
just
this?
need to set our cameras to blurry. That's why we haven't found him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
Lee
Lord,
just solved
Lee.
it.
Thank you for the advice, sir. Our ratings are going to go up now because we're going to catch some ghosts, my friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
We're gonna get
Go-
to Bigfoot now.
But going back to the hand holding, I was in an investigation before Christmas, and you know the kind of buildings that have got quite a sheer slanted roof, and they've
Right.
actually got windows cut into the roof. So
Yep.
if you go into that room, you can step into like the. I'm stood there with my camera, and I've got a colleague about 6 inches away. 6 inches? He was really close. 6 feet away. And we're asking all the normal questions, and I've got my hand hanging out my pant pocket, so kind of at a right angle,
Right.
and then I got the sensation that something did this around my fingers. My immediate reaction was, well, it's got to be a cobweb, but then I'm thinking, well, my arm's sticking out, so a cobweb's going to be taken out by my shoulder or my arm. And we have multiple cameras all over the place. So one guy was sat at the NVR, and he went, "What were you looking at?" And I went, he goes, "I saw you look down at your hand." And I says, "I got the sensation that my hand got held." And he went, "I did see you look, and then I saw you try to debunk it by looking around." What was it? I don't know. But it felt like the sensation that I had my hand held.
Wow.
Only I experienced it. Nobody else did. Did I imagine it? No, because that's what I felt. Can I prove what it was? No, I can't. Because it would just happened to me, and in that split second, it had gone.
Wow.
Wow,
So
is right.
I actually like that. Most people, so what we call sensationalized, where everybody's always, making big movements and everything's all sensation. We call it the Zach Bagans of it all, because that's one of the things that he does.
He like, either
Sorry,
he
Lee.
likes that term or he hates that.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
like,
know.
wait a second.
And he's
Yeah.
like, and I know him personally.
Yeah, sorry. Tell Zach I said hi, though, Lee. Will you?
I will.
Thank you. Thank you.
And here's that.
Special guest surprise.
Sorry, Zach. We were
appearance.
talking about somebody else, my friend.
Yeah,
It was-
can you imagine, like,
might think
his
it's
head,
funny,
his head just comes in.
He just doesn't look.
Yeah.
oh, Lord.
But yeah, you mentioned about some of the courses that I've done,
Yes.
because I like to say that personally that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I can't go into someone's house and explain stuff if I don't know what I'm talking about. So there's a company in Halifax on the east coast of Canada, and they're called, and I've got to put the site up because I can't remember otherwise. They are called the Paranormal Phenomena Research and Investigation, PPRI, and they actually do courses on ghosts and hauntings, on poltergeist, introduction to demonology, introduction to cryptozoology. So I thought, well, if I'm going to take this seriously, I need to get some background.
Right.
So, even the course on introduction to demonology, people always like to use the D word. But, in reality, probably 1% are actually real.
Right.
And, we learned on the course that the Roman Catholic Church in Italy hired 250 new priests to become exorcists. But one of the first courses that they put them on was a mental health course. So they were learning how to deal with mental health cases before they went into the religious part of exorcisms and stuff like that. And you
That's
see it
pretty
on
good.
TV all the time where people go, I've been scratched. It has to be a demon.
Right.
Lee has a different theory. Yeah, Gabriel, you're not surprised that Lee's got a different theory.
Lee, I'm surprised that you actually gave us a courtesy to wait for that. I like it, man. What is your theory, my friend?
Okay,
I'm
so
in.
if there's two people and one of them has passed,
Yep.
and the one that's passed wants to try to communicate, the natural thing for you to do is to go, Gabriel. Gabriel can't hear you because you've passed,
Right.
and Gabriel's doing his normal thing.
Right.
The next natural thing for a human to do is to raise their voice and speak louder.
Yeah.
Gabriel, still can't hear you. The next natural thing is for them to go, excuse me, and tap you on the shoulder, tap you on the arm. So that connection of, if it exists, spiritual energy could be what's creating the scratches. Doesn't mean it's malevolent. It just means that there could be a spirit that is trying to communicate, and because it's been trying to get your attention by vocalizing and they can't, the next natural thing is for them to make physical contact.
Well, it's very interesting.
That is a really interesting theory. Plus, if you think about it, like they don't know what kind of power or whatever that they have or don't have.
Correct.
And that also gives me like the idea, like the way you explain that is kind of like a, I hate to say it like this, but like a toddler, saying something first, maybe causing a scene afterwards because, any kind of activity might be, hey, I'm just trying to get your attention. And we've had guests on here before that have kind of had that same, like maybe it's not all, like you're saying, malevolent. Thanks for that word. I love it. But maybe it is because the fact that they're literally just trying to get their attention and, there's no other way to do it besides.
That's it. And there was one of the TV shows that I saw, somebody got scratched in the back. And when they actually investigated further, it appeared there was some residual energy of a nurse in what used to be a hospital was busy doing her work. So if you're coming down the stairs and she's behind you, she will push you out the way because she's got things to do.
Right.
So, come on, out the way. I'm in a hurry. I need to get things done. Again, it's not a malevolent action. She's just moving you out the way because she wants to get past. So not every contact is going to be evil, the D word, or malicious. There's alternative reasons for that contact or that thing to happen.
That's
Sure.
very, very interestingly. It really is. I enjoyed that. Thank you. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Oh, thank
Why
you.
do you think?
Go on.
Why do you think that people throw around the D word all the time? Like, why do you think that's something that we use? I think, like obviously in Ghost Adventures, it sells, right? But is that what you think? Is that what you think it is, or do you have other opinions on that?
I'll- so it's in the public eye a lot by certain people on TV shows. Is it necessarily the truth? Maybe not. But like you just said, it sells good TV. So if you've got a spirit that wants to genuinely communicate with you, and like I said, it goes through the actions and it accidentally scratches you because you're a flesh and blood human being and you've been injured, you're immediately going to go, it's evil.
Negative, sure.
Yeah, because people only get injured through physical violence or force.
Right.
So the only way for people to explain something evil is using the D word.
Right. Association. That makes sense.
Yeah.
In your perspective, Lee, when you study demonology to be able to give classes, what are the aspects of a demon? What is a demon?
That's the $1 million question because each religion has their own version.
Right.
So, yeah, in the Asian world, you've got the jinn, and in the Catholic and the Christian, you've got Lucifer, you've got the devil, and you've got the fallen angels or the demons, so to speak. But what you've got to put into reality is if people are of a religious faith, they're more likely to start using the D word rather than being logical. Because when you read the Bible and you talk about fallen angels, they're going to relate to that if they're of a religious belief.
Right.
Whereas I don't class myself as being religious. Funerals, weddings, christenings, and that's about it.
Okay.
So I think I've got more of a logical head about it. And I've spoken to demonologists, I've spoken to exorcists. And it's not as common as what people think. There are times when they have had to form an exorcism. I nearly said circumcision then, but that would have got me in complete trouble. But it's like those instances are very few and far between. And a perfect example, and I'm just going to pull it up because I like doing my research, if I can find it on good old technology.
We know how
There's
technology is.
there's an incident in Germany in 1976. Girl called Anneliese Michel. Don't know if you're familiar. So she had 67 exorcisms during her. She was only born in 1952 and she died in 1976.
Wow.
And her parents were so obsessed with the fact that she was possessed. The parents spoke to the church and the church performed 67 exorcisms. When she passed, a medical doctor found that she was suffering from malnutrition and such like, and her parents and the clergy both got sentenced for negligent homicide.
Sure.
So it doesn't have to be an individual who is experiencing it. If the family members are obsessed with the D word and they are convinced that their son, daughter, sibling or whatever is possessed, then they're going to do everything to get that demon out of that body, whether if it's the case or not. So, yeah, typical example with Annalise, that she may just have been suffering from a natural ailment, but because her parents were obsessed with the fact that she was possessed, somebody died because of it.
Perception
That's
is
sad.
some people's reality. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, on the times that there have been genuine instances, I was talking to you should get him on your show, he's a great guy. He's a exorcist who is been trained in Thailand.
Okay.
And he was talking to me about this one occasion where him and the girl that he was seeing at the time, and I've got no reason to disbelieve that this happened, and I can't remember the exact circumstances, but they found a pendant at a location. She thought it would be great to wear this pendant. Later on in the evening, she's got it on. He heard her scream. This is a long story cut short. She threw herself into the crab position and then crawled up a wall backwards.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's a holy moment.
Yeah.
And this guy's got like I say, he goes to Thailand. He's been trained by I can't remember that, but yeah, religiously. So he's got no reason to lie to me, and he's a very nice guy. And it's like he then called somebody who said, you can either try to deal with it yourself, or if you want me to come, I will tell you everything you needed to know and more.
Wow.
And they ended up taking her to a church. The priest took her to one side, and within a few minutes, the priest had nothing to do with her because of what she said to the priest. So, yeah, when you hear
Do we
stories...
know what she said to the priest?
I don't know.
Okay.
And he doesn't either. But
Right.
she doesn't remember what she said, and the priest would have nothing to do with her. So, yeah, when you get those kind of examples, you just go, okay, there's something out there, but do we know exactly what it is? No. And even if somebody has a poltergeist activity, there's indications that it could be caused by a teen who's going through personal issues, and the energy that builds up could cause poltergeist activity. But if that is the case, they will always title it with the D word. But there's key things like if that individual's body can manipulate itself into, or contort itself into ways that they can't physically do, like you've seen The Exorcist, the turning of the head,
Right.
to do that and not to have any physical injuries afterwards, or they will know deepest, darkest secrets that only you know, or they will start speaking in a language they're not familiar with, like Latin, Gaelic, that kind of stuff. So there are indicators that would point towards a genuine possession.
Sure.
But then you still have to go down the psychiatrist route, the clergy route, before they go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, let's go and get Zach and we'll go and do the exorcism.
So, by what you just said, you think it's very possible for someone to manifest something without even realizing that they're manifesting it, and kind of foresee it as something different, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And I do have another page because I'll do my research. The thing is, though, if you want to kind of differentiate between the two, physical movement of objects, you can check both boxes. Noises, you can check both boxes. Excuse me. Electrical disruption tends to be on the poltergeist side. Escalation can be both. Physical contact and physical distortion tends to be, physical contact on the. I've been doing too many bubbles in my Coke. The poltergeist can have physical contact, push people downstairs, that kind of thing. But
Right.
to distort the physical body tends to be more on the demonic side. Environmental changes tends to be more poltergeist side. But one of the kickers as well is destruction of furniture, fires, and that kind of thing. So they try to destroy what you are comfortable with. So there's different kind of checklists between the two.
What is the difference between? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Lee.
No, please. You've been doing it all night. Carry on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Well, then I don't want to change that. What is the difference between a poltergeist experience and a haunting? Or do you see them as the same thing? Are they the same thing? Or are they different?
In my eyes, they're different because you've got residual energy and you've got intelligence. Right. So if it's a haunting per se, the residual is the stereotypical. You put the video in the VCR for us old folk, or and it's the same tune, the same video over and over again. So if you are in a location and somebody walks through a door, then walks down the corridor and turns off, and they do that night after night after night. If you try to communicate and there's no communication, that's residual energy. Mm-hmm. If you ask if there's anybody there and somebody tries to communicate with you through whichever device you decide to use, and if you ask them to touch, I hate the word device, simply because if you're talking to somebody who died in the 1800s, they're not going to know what a device is. So I always use the term box or toy. So if you're playing one of your toys, please go up and touch it, and it goes off on command, then you could deem that as intelligence. If you're talking about a poltergeist, things going missing and turning up in different locations, things being thrown, electrical interference and stuff like that, then that tends to be aiming towards a poltergeist.
That's actually very well. That's great description, actually. And I think by you separating them two, it does make a lot of sense. So, what is what if you have somebody that is very connected to a property and they pass? That would be a haunting because it's just kind of an energy record, correct? And is there elements that you believe that are attached to a property that allows somebody to record that energy for it to continue playing?
That's a great question. See, it's always good when someone being interviewed goes, "That's a great question." So it's interesting how you worded that, because, like I say, if a haunting is attached to a location, they died there or whatever, and they haven't passed over cleanly, shall we say, then for their internal life, they're going to be repeating that course of action. If you've got somebody that hasn't passed cleanly and still has a message to get, like if you were murdered and they want to try to say that it was Gabriel that murdered them, I'm not going to pick on you, Raven. I'm always going to pick on Gabriel.
Thank you.
I can take it. It's fine.
Yeah. Then
Thank you. I appreciate
they're
that.
going to try to get that information across, so justice can prevail. But then, if you also think about it, let's bring in time slips into that as well, where somebody can go down a road and see a completely different time, even interact with individuals, turn around and go home, and then come back 2 hours later and it's a completely different housing estate or something like that, which category do you put that in? Do you put that into intelligent? I think not. Again, that's probably going to go into the haunting kind of pile, but it's a haunting of time rather than an individual.
That's that's well explained. Thank you for that, Lee. I appreciate that.
Pretty
How do you
interesting,
feel
for sure.
about like the Mandela effect, or even different plantation or different plateaus when it comes to reality? Do you think that there's alternate realities within our surroundings?
I think there probably is. However, we do not have enough knowledge to be able to say yes or no 100%.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's like, let me just go on a tangent a fraction. I was talking to somebody about aliens, and I asked him the question about why do you think they are here if they are here, and he actually said, well, they could have been here before we were, and we're the hybrid, or they could be here to monitor us to make sure that we don't destroy the planet and stuff like that. So I'm kind of losing my track, but I'll get back to it. So depending on the exact circumstances, how much do we actually know about our life? As far as we're concerned, we get born, we grow up, get married, have kids, get old, die. But if you want to go into that much, much deeper, you've got all these mediums that say that they can communicate. I have a handful of mediums that I do trust, and I believe them 100%, because I've kind of put them to the test and they've kind of given me correct information. What is it they are seeing? What is it they are hearing? What is it they are feeling? There has to be something happening within our world that not every man and his dog is experiencing. So as far as they're concerned, it's complete hogwash. But in reality, there could be spiritualist world. There could be aliens living amongst us. There could be cryptids out there that we haven't yet found. Just because we can't see them, it doesn't mean they don't exist.
That's
Thank you
well thought
for
out. Thank you
that.
for that. Absolutely.
I was gonna say, so I'm gonna jump in here. I know that you know a little bit about cryptids. You did bring and you just brought it up, so I love it because that's a great segue. Also, we know that if we just set our camera to blurry, now we can take pictures of Bigfoot. I wish we would have known that before.
There you go.
I'm so happy we know this now. But so we've had a lot of people on this show where we've asked the question about the infamous Bigfoot. I know for a while Gabriel was kind of in the non-believer and then went to the believer and then might be back on the fence again with Bigfoot. What are your thoughts, Lee? You kind of alluded a little bit to maybe some things, but I'm curious, what do you think about Bigfoot and other cryptids? And if there are, or if there was one cryptid that could exist, which one do you think it could be?
I speak to a lot of people that investigate Bigfoot. Have I seen anything? No, not of what I know of. Have I been in the woods and heard things that I can't explain? Yes. But I'm not familiar with everything that lives in the woods and every noise they make. That kind of stuff. So, if you hear a crack in the woods, is it a branch falling, or is it a big 8-foot creature stepping on a branch? I don't know. I've asked people if Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, are of a paranormal nature. Some people say yes, some people say no. That we may get a glimpse of them and then for want of an easy word, they teleport and go to a different location. How do we know that doesn't happen? There is so much of the world that is uninvestigated. Like in Canada, we have Ogopogo in one of the lakes, and then we have Loch Ness in England. Who's not saying that it's the same creature coming on vacation to do different locations? We don't know how it gets around the planet. It may well be. But when somebody says, I've got a 16-inch footprint, and they know damn well that it's not the double print of a wolf or a bear, and you can literally see the toes. Whereas if it was a canine or a bear or whatever, it's less of a defined toes, so to speak. But if you've got a 16-inch footprint that you've got a plaster cast, and you can see the individual digits, unless you've got somebody walking around with a big cardboard foot stamping through the forests, what's caused it? There has to be something that's causing all these sightings. You've got what is it, the Yowie in Australia, the Green Man in the UK, Sasquatch is in Canada, Bigfoot's in the US. There's got to be something that all these people are seeing. I was talking to a guy last summer who he has the understanding or the belief that they may be able to see in a bioluminescent vision. So if you get a camera that can pick up on that, you see all the different colours that we can't see. So if you're traipsing through the woods trying to find Bigfoot, they can hear and see you way before you get anywhere close. So you may only glance of them hightailing out there. Now, do I believe that any of them exist? I can't say they don't because I haven't seen. But one that I think is really funny, and I know it's only folklore, is the squonk. I don't know if you're familiar with a squonk, but
Never heard of squonk.
It has its own convention, Squonkapalooza. Google it. It's hilarious.
I like the name. Though,
Where is
man.
this? I want to go.
Pennsylvania. So
Okay.
I
I love that.
I interviewed somebody who was talking about the squonk, and apparently it is such a sad creature that when it sees somebody and it's so ugly, it starts crying and then just bursts into a puddle of water. And as soon as she told me about that, I was crying with laughter, and I went, "Yep, I want a squonk to be true."
Absolutely.
I want it to be true.
Yeah.
I want to find one, but
But the fact, Google it afterwards. It's the squonk. It's like a little fat little thing with wrinkles, and it looks so sad and so forlorn.
yeah,
But
I think
awesome.
I've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the
I
thing
think
is,
I've seen
though,
pictures of this.
yeah, go for it. But the fact that there's so many sightings. Yeah, let's go Mothman, Dogman. What are these people seeing? It can't just be a trick of the light every single time. It
Right.
can't be somebody imagining something every single time. So what the hell is it? What are they seeing?
That's a very good question. A lot of people that we talk to, their theory, and I think theories are very personal, right? I mean, I don't ever say that's not right because it's your theory. That's great. A lot of people seem to think it's interdimensional,
Yep.
and because there's no bodies. I mean, I've seen videos of a body in a box out of plexiglass, and I was like, well, listen, if you're going to preserve a body, plexiglass and wood probably isn't the way. I do think it's interdimensional. I do think the wonderful thing about the experience that we're having here through life is that there are things unexplained, and I think that's what keeps me at least going. Not to find the answers, but to experience the experience as I'm trying to figure out what things are. And I think as you get older, when you're a kid, everything's a mystery, everything's fun, and as you get older, I think we still have that. We still
Yeah.
have those experiences, and it lets us believe that there's something out there we don't know, especially in a world that has a lot of information and everybody knows what everything is. It to me, personally, it is fun not to know, but to experience the experience.
That's it. And when I was a kid in the UK, we had a magazine called The Unexplained. And I've actually found where somebody's actually scanned them all online. So if you want me to send you it, I will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's fabulous because I was so convinced that people would still be going missing in the Bermuda Triangle every single day.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not happening. And there's another one was spontaneous human combustion.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be dealing with that
you.
on a daily basis. I was very disappointed when I wasn't.
Oh, I'm so happy you brought that up. I was on a podcast once and we were talking about one of our like fears or one of the things that we thought would be more prevalent when we were older. And I said, I always believed in spontaneous human combustion. I was terrified I was going to
Yeah.
spontaneously human combust at any point in time. Thank
Right.
you, Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
But
Like,
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it never happened. I should not thing though. But yeah, it's just not as real as I
yeah,
thought. That
I'm
the Bermuda Triangle
extremely
and
disappointed. I'm
quicksand.
extremely disappointed.
Whatever happens to the Bermuda Triangle too? Like all those people went missing and all the planes and all the ships but now it doesn't even seem to be a threat anymore.
No,
I'm curious.
and like we're thinking about going on vacation to, those kind of that kind of neck of the woods, and it's like if I go through the Bermuda Triangle and I go missing, I'm going to come back and tell people.
One more mystery to be proud of. I love that.
Yeah, I'll do a podcast from
Yeah.
inside the Bermuda Triangle.
Could you?
Yeah,
Lee, you are a extremely fascinating man. The way you present things, the way your mind works. I want to thank you for being on. And there's so much about you we could not possibly cover it in an hour. We would like to have you back.
most
love
definitely.
that.
Yeah,
More than
I
happy to.
appreciate you being here. Can you tell people where to find you, how to contact you, and more about your organization? Because you're a fascinating man.
Yeah, so my apartment number is.
Don't forget
Don't
your
tell
social
them that.
security number. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that though. Yeah.
so we've got everything all in one location. So our website address is SIPA, that is SIPACA.com. And on there you will find videos of my podcast, SIPA Paranormal Chronicles. You will find videos that we've had for investigations. There's a newsletter that we send out once a month. We have photographs, meet the team, and then any public events. But everything is on the website. We've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
That's fascinating.
Fantastic.
Well,
Fantastic.
tonight, as we've been a fascinating journey into the unknown, and conversations like this, they're wonderful to have, especially with somebody like you. I want to thank you again for being on tonight. And I know our audience has enjoyed it. Time just flew by, and we definitely would like to have you on. Raven, do we have anything else going on for us?
Well, as always, we're releasing new episodes quite often, and a couple new episodes actually just out and released. So not just our interviews, but we're back to some storytelling stuff, which is fabulous. I was super excited about those. So you can always check those out wherever you get your podcasts. Also, end of the month, which is coming up really fast, we will be at the Stanton, and I'm probably saying that word wrong, but Stanton, the Red River Gorge Bigfoot Festival. So we will be with lots of people who do believe in the infamous blurry creature, Bigfoot. And we have a couple of special things going on when we're out there. We'll also be visiting West Virginia at a haunted funeral home and also a haunted abandoned amusement park while we're out and about. So super excited for that. So stay tuned for all of this stuff that we have when we come back from there, because I'm sure we're going to have lots of stuff to share with everyone.
Well, we want to give a huge thank you again to Lee Hatfield for joining us here in Darkwoods Paranormal. Lee, your
Most welcome.
experience, professionalism, and dedication to a field truly brought something unique to tonight's conversation, and we appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge, your stories, and your perception with us. I loved it. And to everybody listening tonight, whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or somewhere in between, thank you for continuing to walk into the darkness with us this week. For myself, Gabriel Von Graves, and my co-host Raven Knight, and of course the amazing Lee, we do appreciate you. Thank you for listening to us. Continue being curious. Do stay safe. Thank you for joining us. Lee, would you mind just hanging on a few more seconds, my brother? There you go. Thank
Don't
you.
hold your breath.